There's a very specific type of exhaustion that comes from modern office work.
Oh, yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not physical tired. It's not like you've been digging ditches. It's more decision fatigue.
Absolutely. It's the sheer weight of 1,000 tiny administrative micro decisions you make before, what, before noon?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But sitting down at 9 a.m. and just thinking, okay, how do I phrase this request politely?
Right. What was the actual action item from that last call?
Does this 20-page report need a summary? Or do I just forward it? I mean, it's the death by 1,000 cuts of the knowledge economy.
It really is. We hire people, smart people, to think and strategize. But if you look at the data, we spend something like 80% of our time just moving information from one pile to another.
We're not working, we're processing.
Or just processing.
And that is exactly why we're digging into this source today. It's a digital handbook. It's called ChatGPT for Daily Office Work, Volume 1. Yeah. Now, I'll be honest, when I first saw the title, I thought, great, another generic list of prompts. I've seen a million of these.
Sure.
But reading through it, this feels different. It feels less like a technical manual and more like a manifesto for reclaiming your brain.
That is a great way to put it, because the handbook isn't really trying to teach you how to be a prompt engineer, not in the technical sense.
No.
It's trying to teach you a new management style. But the employee you're managing just happens to be, well, artificial intelligence.
The core idea here is really compelling. It frames the whole transition, not as using a tool or...
It's cheating on your work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as shifting your entire mindset from doing to directing.
Which is a massive psychological shift for most of us. I mean, think about it. We're conditioned to value our output based on the keystrokes we produce.
Right. I typed the email, therefore I worked.
I wrote the report, therefore I was productive. This handbook argues your value isn't in the typing, it's in the judgment.
It uses that analogy of the intern, right?
Yeah.
It really clicked for me.
Yeah. It does. It asks you to imagine you have this bright, eager, 24/7 intern sitting right next to you.
Okay.
Now, if you needed a meeting summary, would you sit there and transcribe the whole thing yourself while the intern just watches you?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
That'd be a huge waste of resources. I'd toss the audio file to the intern and say, hey, get me the bullet points.
Exactly. But, and here's the nuance I think people miss, and where the fear comes from. You wouldn't just trust the intern blindly.
No.
You wouldn't just say, send it to the client without looking. You'd review the work. You'd say, hey, change the tone here, or you missed this specific point about the budget.
Right. You're still the boss.
Oh.
And that leads to the mantra of this entire deep dive, which the handbook just keeps repeating.
Yeah, it's the defining rule. You are the editor, AI is the drafter.
That's it.
If you stick to that, you avoid the two biggest traps. The first is blindly trusting it, which leads to errors.
And hallucinations. Yeah.
And the second trap is trying to do it all yourself because you don't trust it, which just leads to burnout. The editor mindset is that sweet spot.
So let's get practical, because the philosophy is great, but we need to know what to do on Monday morning.
Right.
The handbook breaks this down into 5 specific roles you can assign to this digital intern. And the first one attacks the thing I struggle with the most, the writer. Specifically, facing the blank page.
The blank page barrier. It's a real cognitive phenomenon. The mental energy it takes to go from 0 words to 1 word it's disproportionately high.
I feel that in my soul. You open a draft, the cursor is just blinking, mocking you, and suddenly you decide it's a great time to go get coffee.
Right. It's avoidance. The handbook suggests using AI specifically to break that friction, but it highlights a critical mistake most people make.
Which is?
They treat the AI like a search engine. They type in what the handbook calls a basic prompt.
To light an email about timesheets.
Exactly. And what happens? The AI is a pattern matching machine, so it looks at the average of the entire internet and gives you the most average generic response possible.
Dear team, please submit timesheets. Regards, management.
It's robotic, it's cold, it technically answers the prompt, but you can't actually send it without sounding like, I don't know, a sociopath.
Right. So the handbook offers a specific email formula. And this is one of those nuggets we really want you to catch. It's like a Mad Lib for productivity.
Yeah, it's so simple. The formula is, write a tone email to audience about topic. Include important details.
It sounds simple, but let's look at the difference. Instead of write an email about timesheets, you'd say, write a polite but firm email to the engineering team, reminding them that timesheets are due Friday at 3 p.m. Keep it short and friendly.
Suddenly, you have context. You've given the AI constraints, and these models thrive on constraints. The output you get from that second prompt is probably 90% ready to go.
You just tweak a word or two, but you didn't have to stare at that blank page. You skipped the friction.
You skipped right over it.
I think the tone variable is the game changer there. How often do we just stare at an email worrying about how we sound?
Oh, all the time.
Which actually leads us perfectly into the second role, which I think this is my favorite of the bunch, the diplomat.
The diplomat. This is for when you could write the email yourself, technically, but you really shouldn't.
Because you're angry?
Angry, stressed, rushing, or just burned out. So much workplace friction comes from emails that are technically correct but emotionally wrong.
I get that.
Yeah.
You're trying to be concise, so you sound rude, or you're annoyed, so you sound passive-aggressive.
Yeah. And the handbook uses this great visual of a mixing board, like in a recording studio. You have these sliders for your communication style.
I love that idea.
You have a slider for polite, one for direct, empathetic, formal. You can literally take a rough draft and tell the AI, hey, slide the empathy up 20%, or this is too fluffy, slide the directness up.
Okay, there's a case study in here that made me wince because I have definitely, well, I've felt this email in my soul.
Oh.
I want to read the input, the messy, angry version, and I want you to give us the diplomat version the AI produced.
Okay, lay it on me. I'm ready.
All right, so you're waiting for documents from a client. It's been a week. You're done being nice. You type this into the AI. Hey, we still don't have your documents. We asked last week and nothing came in. If we don't get them soon, your account will be delayed. Please send ASAP.
Ouch. I mean, it's clear. But if a client reads that, they're immediately on the defensive. It sounds like you're scolding a child.
Totally. So you feed that into the AI with the prompt, rewrite to sound polite, professional, and customer-friendly.
And the AI, as the diplomat, spits this back out. Dear customer, we are following up regarding the outstanding documents requested last week. To avoid any delays with your account, please forward them at your earliest convenience. Thank you.
It's night and day. The facts are identical. Send the docs or get delayed. But the feeling is completely different.
And think about the emotional labor that saves. That's the key. To write that second version yourself when you're genuinely annoyed, that takes a lot of self-control.
That's a great point. You're outsourcing the emotional labor of politeness.
Exactly. You dump the raw frustration in, and the AI filters it into professionalism.
Right.
That preserves your energy for the actual work.
Okay, so sometimes the problem isn't that we need to write, it's that we have way too much to read. Which brings us to role number 3, the analyst.
The information overload killer.
We've all been there. You get CC'd on an email chain that started 3 weeks ago. It's 40 pages long.
Or someone drops a 30-page PDF in Slack and just says, thoughts.
And usually, be honest, you just skim it. You read the first paragraph, the last paragraph, and hope you didn't miss anything critical.
Guilty. The handbook visualizes the AI as a funnel here. You pour the massive amount of text in the top, and it just drips out insights at the bottom.
But, and I feel like this is a key point, you can't just say summarize this.
You can't. And this is where people get frustrated, because summary is subjective. If I summarize a technical meeting for the CEO, it needs to be 2 sentences. If I summarize it for the lead engineer, it needs a list of 20 specific bugs.
Ah, so you have to specify the audience and the format.
Always. The formula is summarize this text into format for audience.
Okay.
And the handbook highlights 3 very distinct outputs you should be asking for. First is the executive summary, that's your TLDR. 1 paragraph, high level.
Okay, good for quick catch-up.
Second is the bullet list. This is for comprehension. You can ask, give me the top 5 arguments from this article.
And the third.
The action list. This is the power move. You paste in a messy email thread and say, extract a list of action items. Who needs to do what by when?
That is incredibly useful. You stop reading for the gist and start reading for tasks.
It turns passive consumption into active planning. You instantly know if you need to reply or if you can just archive it.
Speaking of planning, let's talk about role 4, the strategist. Now, this title sounded a bit grandiose to me at first.
A little bit, yeah.
But the handbook clarifies it's about micro-planning.
Exactly. We're not asking ChatGPT to write our 5-year corporate vision. We're talking about the daily tactical problems. What should we name this project? Where should we have the holiday party?
The issue I always run into here is that AI ideas can feel vanilla. Yes, for team building ideas, and it says pizza party.
Right. It reverts to the average. So to get around this, the handbook proposes the expansion technique. It's a 3-step loop. Ask, select, expand.
Walk us through that. How does it get us past the pizza party problem?
Okay, so step 1 is ask. Give me 10 ideas for a team offsite. It generates a list. Most will be average.
Right.
Step 2 is select. You use your human judgment. You see, item number 7 is cooking class. Okay, not terrible, but generic.
It's still generic, yeah.
So step 3 is expand. You tell the AI, ignore the rest. Expand on idea number 7. Give me 3 specific themes for a cooking class that encourages teamwork.
I see. So you use the AI to go wide first for volume, then you pick a winner and force it to go deep.
Exactly. You don't let it drive the car, you tell it which turn to take. This basically solves the generic advice problem because you're forcing specificity.
That's like having a brainstorming buddy who doesn't have an ego. You can say, no, that's a bad idea 10 times in a row, and it never gets discouraged.
It just says, okay, here are 10 more. And sometimes you really do need to clear out 20 bad ideas to find the one brilliant one.
For sure. Okay, final role, role number 5, the secretary. And honestly, for anyone who spends their life in Zoom meetings, this one is huge.
Oh, this is purely about data transformation, taking unstructured data messy notes, scribbles, and turning it into structured communication.
I'm terrible at this. I take notes during a meeting like, John, budget late, Tuesday, Sarah slides. 2 days later, I have no idea what that means.
That's the danger zone.
Right.
If you don't process those notes immediately, the information just degrades. So the secretary workflow is, you take those raw notes right after the call, paste them into the AI, and say, process this.
But again, process this is too vague based on what we've learned. What are we asking for?
3 things, usually. First, a clean agenda for the next sync. Second, a refined action item list. And third, my favorite, a draft follow-up email.
So my chicken scratch notes become a clean email that says, hi team, great call. John is handling the budget. Sarah is updating the slides. Talk Tuesday.
Instantaneously, you go from closing the Zoom window to sending the recap email in like 30 seconds. It closes the loop.
And closing the loop is everything.
It's what separates people who get promoted from people who drown.
Okay, so we've covered the 5 roles: writer, diplomat, analyst, strategist, secretary. But the handbook ends with something really cool, a recipe card for putting it all together.
Right, because real life is messy. You usually need to be diplomatic and structured and concise all at once. The handbook calls these super prompts.
Let's break down the post-meeting super prompt.
Okay, so the scenario. You just finished a high-stakes meeting. Tensions were a little high. You need to communicate the results, but also smooth things over.
Right.
So you're not just going to say, write an email. You're going to layer the ingredients. Ingredient 1, tone. You say, write a follow-up email, thank everyone, and keep the tone optimistic and forward-looking.
Okay, ingredient 2.
Formatting. Use bullet points for the key takeaways so it's easy to read. And ingredient 3, the data. Here are the raw notes. 1, update schedule. 2, send revised budget, and so on.
You pile all that into one single prompt.
And the AI acts as the writer, the diplomat, and the secretary all at once. It synthesizes the data, applies the formatting, and polishes the tone. You get a perfect artifact in seconds.
I love that term, artifact. You turn confusion into clarity.
And you did it without typing "Dear Team." You directed. You didn't do...
This really brings us back to the start, the cheat sheet for this whole mindset.
Yeah.
If we had to boil this down for our listener, what should they write on a Post-it note right now?
4 key formulas to memorize.
Yeah.
1, the email formula. Write a tone email to audience about topic. 2, the summary formula. Summarize this into format for audience. 3, the brainstorming formula. Give me number ideas, then expand on selection.
Hey, the last one.
4, the action item formula. Turn these notes into a to-do list.
It's almost like learning a new syntax. It's not code, but it is a structured way of talking to it.
It is. It's the syntax of delegation, which is really what leadership is.
And that leads to the big question the handbook poses, which I want to leave our listeners with. It claims you now have an extra employee.
It's a bold claim.
But it's only true if you actually treat it that way. I mean, be honest. How many of us just use ChatGPT as a glorified Google search?
What's the capital of France?
Or synonym for fast?
Right. That's using a Ferrari to go to the mailbox. It works, but you're missing the point. The challenge is this. If you started your day tomorrow by opening the AI and treating it like a human intern sitting at your desk,
how much work could you offload before 9:30 a.m.?
Could you clear your inbox? Could you summarize those 3 reports you've been ignoring? Draft the agenda for the afternoon? If you commit to being the editor and not the writer, you might find you actually have time to do the job you were hired for.
The strategy, the creative work,
The human work, the stuff the AI can't do.
and that is the promise of the handbook. Not to do less work, but to do better work. To stop drowning in the shallow end.
Exactly.
Well, I know for a fact I'm using the diplomat slider on my emails next week. If you get an email from me that sounds incredibly patient and kind, you'll know why.
I'll be checking the timestamps.
Thanks for diving in with us. This has been a look at ChatGPT for daily office work, Vol 1. Go forth and direct. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye, everyone.